My name is Anna, and I'm a game designer, product owner at Highcore Games. I'm here to talk about Giant Rush, which was our recent project that I have been in top of iOS and Android in the US for around 4 months. It's still there, but somewhere on the bottom. It's been a pretty wild ride, and I'm really happy to share it with you. So meet the game. If you don't know, Giant Rush is a runner. It was the first time for us making a runner, and it was a really interesting experience. We made 60 million downloads with this game, which is a pretty good number for us. So let's meet the team of people who worked on it. We have Max, who was our lead programmer. It was our first time collabing with him. He was great. Shout out to Tap Nation and Florian, especially. Thank you for helping us publishing this game. I was a game designer and project owner of this project, and Pavel, as our head of Hyper Casual, was always there to help, which thank you very much. So before I start talking about Giant Rush, I would like to share the whole experience of creating hyper-casual games, because we all know that it's not always about getting hits and getting in the top. It's also about lots of pain and misery and staying on the bottom, getting high CPIs and stuff like that. Our division started working around a year ago, and we had some misses. We had some horrible misses. Let's talk about them. So the first game that I want to talk is a golf game, which we called this prototype, I think, Golf House or something like that. We based this game on trick shots that we found on TikTok, which are very, very famous genre of the videos there. We really liked them, and we decided to make a really small prototype. The prototype was literally only one level. The interesting thing there is that the whole game design is handmade, and the physics are not actually Unity physics. We rewrote them because it was simpler to do that, which backfired at us really pretty soon. So we made this prototype in around a month. And people are gonna say that it's an outrageous time to make one level, but it was the first time working with the team, and we needed some time to get started. Yeah. So the first test actually, we were very excited first test, because we actually really liked the game. The whole team looked at it and said, like, this is the interesting project that we were waiting for, because if you know Highcore, we don't really like basic games, I would say. We have in our portfolio games like Hoop Stars and Stealth Master, and all of them have some interesting things and interesting parts or mechanics or groundbreaking, genre-breaking stuff in it. So we really didn't want to do some simulation games and stuff like that, and we really didn't want to go right in the trends. So this game looked so good to us, and of course everyone is gonna see that the retention is really low. But we thought about it, and we thought that it was basically a problem of having one level that is not really replayable. So we thought that we're gonna give it one more iteration, because the CPI is okay. And we spent next I'm really embarrassed to say that we spent next 3 months making only 11 levels, because we decided to make a real physics and to make it super nice and polished. So you will see the type of levels that we made on the video, but the CPI stayed the same, which we were really excited, because we thought that in 3 months definitely CPI is gonna rise and someone is gonna make a game like that. But the interesting part was about retention. So 13 levels, they were pretty long, so we thought that usually in the session a person is going to spend around the amount of levels that they're gonna pass will be like 5 or 6. So we were hoping to see at least day 2, but retention one showed us 15% and 360 seconds playtime, which was heartbreaking, and it was definitely a death of the project. Next project was suggested by Tap Nation, which they have the library of different videos that they find and test, and they make a fake gameplay for just videos. And they had this idea for a game, which we were okay about it. We were not really pleased with that, and besides that, we spent 3 months on a game that we really liked and it didn't show up. So we were kind of burned out about it. It didn't strike us as much as the previous test did. The results were not really good. I think lots of you seen these results when CPI is 30% too high and retention is too low to continue. And finally, Tap Nation, using our platform Starglide, while testing lots of different videos of different ideas that are based on others' prototype, or maybe their motion designers' ideas, come up to us with a video that looks almost exactly like this one. At least this one is actually our MVP that we tested. So it was the first time we did a runner, which was nice, and we were actually excited because we really like Cube Surfer, and we always plan to do something like Cube Surfer, which is a great game. I love it. As you can see, the level of polishing is pretty good. We in this team, Max, as a lead game developer, he spends lots of time in polishing everything. We were working without an artist at that point, which was pretty hard because we needed to do everything by ourselves, or create shaders and 3D models and stuff like that, and it took some time because we are not a professional artist, so every simple model for an artist is a week of work for us. We spent around a month for this prototype, and why runners, by the way? Why do we like runners so much, and why we wanted to work with runners so much? Because first of all, they're easy to make. They don't need a specific physics or really lots of assets or stuff like that. They are pretty easy and cheap to make. They are on trend. They're still on trend, and I'm very surprised they're still on trend. And they can be reskinned. Basically, if you're writing your code well, if you wrote one runner, next one is just changing the models or adding just one simple mechanic that is going to change the gameplay and change the video for CPI. But you're basically remaking the same game, so it's going to be cheaper to make the next runner based on that. And generally, runners have really good retention, which I don't know who told us that. It's a general myth. I wouldn't say myth, it's a general belief that runners have a good retention because they're really simple to upgrade and raise retention in there because they have a really showing pattern of mistakes that developers make, which I'm going to talk a little bit later. But while we're testing this MVP, I would like to notice you that we made a really good chunk editor, which Max is really proud of. I hope he's gonna sell it as asset on Asset Store. I would encourage everyone to work on their tools inside the game because this editor is actually what helped us deliver the first game very quickly, and we basically didn't spend any time. Lots of teams find themselves wondering what should they do between testing. Should they continue polishing the game, but what if the test is going to come back really badly and it's going to backfire them? So they basically spend their time in leisure, which we would say I would encourage you to do stuff like that, to do really good editors that's going to help level designers to make lots of chunks and help create game. Spend time, make development easier for the future. So yeah, test results came. It was like 4 days for the tests. The CPI was okay. I didn't really thought that it's gonna be that high. I really hoped it's gonna be a little bit lower. But retention day was fine. It was okay. But we were noticing the same pattern with our first project, that the retention is not actually there yet, but the playtime was pretty good. So and the interesting thing that I looked at the analytics of level churn, of level fails, and I saw the mistakes that we did, too hard obstacles or not interesting gameplay, and I knew what to do. That's what actually makes it so different from the golf prototype. So because we had a clear vision of what we need to do next, we decided to continue. So this is my favorite part. Low retention. What should we do? And this is the... Yeah, let's do that. It's very, very interesting thing, because I really love level design, and I think that it's a really interesting part of game development that is not actually there yet in hyper casual. So I try to fix problem from different angles. So usually people gonna do stuff like insert different obstacle, and then they're gonna continue doing like new game modes or visuals, which we decided that we're not gonna do. We decided that we're gonna have a really short sprints. We're gonna have A/B test every feature that we put in the game, and if the A/B test doesn't show results or show negative, if it shows negative results, obviously we're not gonna put it in. But even if it shows nothing, or the retention, the level churn is gonna stay the same, on the same level, we're gonna just get it out of the game. So basically what we did, we made these categories, and we took little parts of this category and implemented in the game, and basically tested it in A/B tests against the normal version, and it actually helped us. So if you're working on a runner, I would definitely categorize all the stuff that you can do for the retention in this beautiful scheme. It's basically, obstacles are always fun. They look really good. They help CPI because they help to enrich the visuals, and they can be so cool. Like obstacles with the button, we use it a lot in the marketing. I would suggest to always be sure that you have instant kill obstacles and little trouble obstacles, which is like lava or wrong little dummies that you can collect. Because if your obstacles always instantly kill the user, it makes the game very hardcore, and I would suggest that you need to be a little bit easier on our audience. I would suggest that instant kill should be like 1 or 2 obstacles that are gonna kill the player instantly, and lots of little troubles, because little troubles are what makes runners fun. Game modes, I didn't really believe in game modes until we made them and A/B test them, but rage mode is definitely always a must. And rage modes are very easy to make usually, and they require no really hard work. But game modes, I would suggest to A/B test the placement of the game modes, of gem modes, definitely. So gem modes is basically where a user can farm a lot of currency, so he can spend it. Sometimes if they place in the wrong place, they can turn off the users and they can leave the game, or if you give people lots of currency, they're gonna just spend it all, and you're not gonna have skins to show in your meta. So I would suggest to A/B test it really, really well. We ran, I think, 3 different A/B tests for the placement of both modes, which were really interesting. And visual, definitely visuals help a lot in enriching your game, because the whole process of raising your attention is basically showing that your game can give something new every time the player comes to the game. So every time he plays, he has a different experience, he has a different situations. So visuals help a lot, and they're really cheap to make. Different heights or turns, we didn't actually make turns just because of structure of our levels, but I would wish I wish we did. The turns, the example of turns in runners is probably Cube Surfer, which is great. Different heights are really fun because they help you to give challenge to a player and also reward them, because if they see the right path where they need to run, they have fun, they think they're smart, and that's basically how we sell the game. So yeah, this is how we raise their attention. And then don't forget about CPI. Yeah, definitely don't forget about CPI, and definitely don't forget about that you're working with the motion team, and motion team needs a really good debug menu. And if you don't have a really good debug menu, your videos are gonna be worse. So I would suggest to make what we did. We did a model that you can put in any game. It's very simple. You just put it in our kit. Inside the company, we have like a kit that has all the modules of the code that you can just put in every project. So it's actually saving lots of time. Definitely put in the back menu changing cameras, because sometimes motion designers can do very crazy stuff with your game and with the camera, just changing it, and it gives a really good result. And definitely try new visuals. So what we do in Highcore is not actually very conservative. Usually a game designer is going to come to an artist and gonna say like, oh, I need this type of obstacle and this type of obstacle. We have a concept artist. They're not just 2D or 3D artists. So these people are game designers in themselves. So we give a lot of freedom to them. That is why we're getting really interesting obstacles, because those people are not used to hyper casual genre, so they have very fresh mind. And most of these obstacles were in the game. We A/B test each of them, and depending on their performance, we just left it in the game or didn't left it in the game. Okay, so the test came. It was really good. The CPI, we lowered CPI with our debug menu, with our different visual styles, with our different obstacles, and it was 13 cents, which was super great. Our retention raised, I think it was around 10% or 14%. We raised it 14%. It's very amazing. We're really happy, and the playtime raised in half, I believe, which is I've actually never seen the retention to be raised so much. Usually if you, because the game was polished enough, like it was really fun. It has the mechanics were nice, because runners, like 90% of what make runners is the mechanics and the feels from the mechanic, and mechanic was polished enough. I didn't expect that simple obstacles are gonna raise the retention so much, and I was really glad. The time between the first test and the second test, I would say it was a month and a half, around that. So we spent 2 months and a half in development of this game. So when we showed the result of the test to Tap Nation, they basically said, let's go to global release, and we were really happy about that. It was a genuine happiness. And then lots of people think that that's it, that your main goal is to get the game to the top, and then you can go and relax and have fun and swim in money. But the reality is not so good. basically you need to do everything again. The whole circle of development starts from the zero as soon as your game reaches the top, because your CPI is going to raise. No one's going to tell you how much it's going to raise, but the only thing that we know that it's going to raise, and it's very very hardcore, because you need to reinvent your game every time. You need to A/B test everything that you put in a game, like even more than you did before, because right now the money is on stake. So yeah, constantly work on the level flow, and this is the part that lots of people forget. They don't actually look at churn rate, and sometimes the tutorial that you show to 5,000 people doesn't work on the scale of 100,000 people. So I would suggest to always try a new tutorial level and churn level, and the first session levels, which we decided to call our tutorial, is all the levels that a person is going to see in their first session. This is the thing that our another publisher helped us learn, which is Say Games. Shout out to them, they're amazing. So yeah, we worked on level flow a lot. We switched it, we changed the tutorial, we add different markers, we tried different colors. So I would suggest you do the same if you really want your game to continue to perform. Constantly A/B test every feature. I don't think that this is the thing that needs to be explained. If you put anything in the game that is on the top, you need to A/B test it, and be careful with that. By the way, making an A/B test for the timeout between the interstitials and rewards is a very good idea. Please use it. It helps to make more money. Make new cool stuff to make creatives. And this is where things gets really hard, because basically when you look at the blank list, it's easy to create new ideas and create new mechanics, but when the game is literally done, you're stuck, and this is really hard to overpass. I would suggest to open the game to other specialists, ask help. If you have any other divisions or any other game designers, or even artists or coders, usually people have 1 in 10 really good idea, and yeah, use every resource that you have, because you're definitely gonna be too into your game, and you're gonna not be able to create anything fresh and new. Make new obstacles is exactly the same thing. It's really hard to create new stuff, because it's basically always a moving wall, but the view how it looks, like the appearance of it, can actually work in different ways. So yeah, try new features, and I'm not speaking only about gameplay features, I'm also speaking about meta. We didn't work on meta at all. We had only in the beginning, before the global release, we had only a little shop with hats that no one bought, and an upgrade system, which is a simple upgrade system with 2 buttons and add rewards every time when you don't have money to buy anything there. And it worked well. We had a pretty normal amount of rewards and interstitials for runner. We were pretty happy about it, and every time we added something to the shop, or added something like a jam mode, or we have a boss mode, it just added some extra rewarded video or extra interstitials there. So this is pretty basic stuff. You can look up any meta, because meta in hyper casual is so standard. It's chest rooms, it's special rewards and stuff like that. You can experiment it, but please try to A/B test, and try not to put everything in one basket, and try not to merge different features and A/B test them together, because that doesn't really work really well. Try new features and fail really bad. Actually, we failed even more after the release of the game than we felt before. I would say 90% of all our features didn't made any improvements, so we didn't put it in the game, and it's really heartbreaking, and you're getting burnout, and you don't want to work on the game anymore. But it's okay. You need to keep pushing because. You don't know when the next hit is gonna come, and when or if for some people, I don't want to be negative, but yeah, that's the case. And keep pushing because your CPI is rising for next 4 months. Yeah, I noticed 4 months is kind of a number out of the head. It was for us. The CPI stopped growing after 4 months. It stopped around, I would say, 75 cents. Yeah, I think that the drive that makes us make games is very limited. But we need to think about our health, and we definitely need to take a break. So I would suggest after the LTV stops growing exponentially as it grows in like first month of developing after the release, I would suggest everyone to take a break for like a week, have fun, and enjoy the success. Yeah, definitely. So thank you everyone for your time. I hope it was interesting and educational. I would like to hear questions or any interesting ideas that you might have. You can find find me on Pine, obviously, and you can find my LinkedIn link there. So if you have any suggestions or comments or any ideas for collaboration, please be welcome to text me. Thank you very much, and have a good day.